Christ lives in me. That's the gospel. It's Jesus Christ living his life through me, controlling me, ruling over me, helping me do what I cannot do myself. I cannot live the Christian life. That's a great thing to say. Say it. You cannot. You cannot. It's Christ, and that's why he says here, now if we have died with Christ, verse 8, we believe, and that's the key, you've got to believe it. We believe that we will also live. It means live by means of him. Now, we live in a world that is changing so fast. I mean, I just can't get over how fast our world's changing. I said that sentence when I preached this series originally in 1999, and when I went back to all the evidence that I gave for how fast the world was changing, guess what? It had changed. And so I had to completely revamp just the ways in which the world is changing. For example, information is changing so fast. And I got a little graph that I prepared here that kind of shows how the world is changing. I was born in 1960. From 1960 to 1990, all of the information available in the world, the universe, history, understanding, knowledge, learning, everything up to 1960, that amount of information doubled in 30 years. But then it doubled in 5 years, and now they start to debate how fast it's doubling again in 5, again in 5. But it's just the amount of information in the world is growing at a staggering pace. The CEO of Google was speaking this week in Lake Tahoe at an event called Techonomy. Techonomy, that's starting to sound pretty religious. And the CEO was getting up to speak. A man named Eric Schmidt was introducing him. And or David Kirkpatrick, I think, actually. And he said this. I just can't understand this. He said, knowledge by the end of the year will be doubling every 2 days. So when I read that, my head exploded. And I don't even know what to say about that. So I'll change the subject. Another way that the world's changed, of course, is in terms of media. And when most of us were younger and growing up, there was what, like 3 channels or something like that? And then woo, Fox came out. Woo, there's a new network. Wow, breakthrough. And now, of course, there's 100 and more channels that are available to people. And it's not just, hey, how many people watched the Jetsons when they were kids? You remember that cartoon? That was crazy good, man. There's no cartoons like that no more. And remember they had that freaky thing where they would dial up a person and they could actually see the person they were talking to on the phone. And I would be like, what universe is that? This one. Someone was telling me recently that their daughter went away to college, but it's like she's still home because they put her on Skype and they turn the Skype so that it's facing the TV and she watches programs with them from college. She's sort of here. Are we empty nesters? I don't even know anymore. Okay, it's just everything is changing so fast. I could say a lot more about that. Here's the bad news. Everything's changing. Christians aren't changing. They're not changing. Every survey, I could go into statistics. I hate statistics, and it's so discouraging. Every statistic indicates that Christians are pretty much like their non-believing neighbors. They're living for the same reasons. They have the same level of happiness. They struggle with the same things. They're not that much different. They're not that much different. So we've surveyed 100 people. The top 4 answers are on the board to this question. Name something that Christians do instead of changing. Ready? Number 4 answer. Rituals. And I'm not talking about, Catholics and mainline Christians. I'm talking about us. Just turn to your neighbor and say, he's talking to us. We got our rituals too, Look at you sitting there again doing your serving the Lord and bringing your Bible. And this is what I do every week. And I come to church and we sing our songs and we raise our hands and we have our little routines that we do. The spiritual part of our week, but it doesn't come down into our life. It affects me while I'm here, but when I leave here, I'm a lot like my sister who doesn't come here, and I'm a lot like my neighbor who thinks I'm crazy for coming here. Not that much different, really. Things we do instead of changing ritual, and then a debate. I'm kind of out on a pretty scary limb here now, trying to get some Christians together that don't normally talk in our conference, the Elephant Room. And I'm having a whole fresh new experience with people who not only don't appreciate what I'm going for there, but I end up interacting sometimes, and I've kind of cut that off because it's such a waste of time, because there are some people that Christianity is just something to debate. And they're not even debating people who don't believe it. They're debating other people who do believe it but don't believe it exactly like they do. That is a colossal waste of time. And that is a massive substitute for sanctification. This is the will of God, not your ritual, not your debating skills. This is the will of God. Your sanctification. And then why things Christians do instead of changing. There's another one, sentimentality. And fact is, you don't have a great thing with God anymore. You had a great thing with God in college, or when you were first married, or when you used to live in that other city. And now what you're looking to do is find a place where they'll sing those same songs. And I love that way. By the way, I love singing How Great Thou Art. This morning, I love that song. How many people really love that song? But I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned that it's stirring up in me a remembrance of a time when I had a great thing with God, but maybe I don't have one anymore. Watch out for sentimentality. Watch out for your spirituality is not current. It's not actually changing the way I talk to my wife. It's just stirring up warm feelings of a day gone by when I was actually close to the Lord. Things Christians do instead of changing, and then just carnality, just flat out living in the flesh. I just want what I want. I just do what I do, and I go to church to help me feel a little better about how awful I really am. Okay? And look, here's the point, okay? Man, live like a Christian. Jesus didn't just die for your forgiveness. He rose again for your transformation. And you got to live like, look at, for 2,000 years, Christians have believed in a gospel that not only transforms your destiny, but it transforms your character. Do you see? That's the gospel. Let me say it again. For 2,000 years, we're in a line of people. We have spiritual ancestors. And the followers of Jesus have always believed that Christ's death and resurrection is not just something that transforms our destiny, we're going to heaven, but it transforms our character here and now on the way.